partnership of three corporations.
The partnership of three corporations.
Corporations have been led.
Corporations have been led
by former public servants.
by former public servants.
It's just like in Washington where the revolving door between bankers and regulators breeds corruption. The MBTA signed a contract that said if their trains were late, they would pay. They were on the hook for over $50 million. But the cronies in the MBTA and MassDOT renegotiated the contract. Paid less than $7 million. That's $43 million that now is going to us. In the form of fare increases. This, ladies and gentlemen, is austerity. 1, 2, 3.
Austerity!
4, 5, 6.
Fuck austerity!
1, 2, 3.
Fuck austerity!
4, 5, 6.
Fuck austerity!
Alright, so one thing about the MBCR. Veolia is a major multinational corporation. They do water extraction, power, transportation, and environmental consulting.
Involved in a lot of stuff.
They're one of the three partners of the MBCR.
It's complicated.
One of the three programs of the MBCR.
Veolia runs bus services between Israel and the illegal settlements in the West Bank. Shame! MBCR and Veolia are the same thing. The MBCR contract was reapproved without any public comment. And the guy who made this happen, Richard Davies, the general manager of MassDOT, guess what? He used to work for MBCR. So all this corruption, and now they're trying to make us pay in the form of fare increases and service cuts. And layoffs.
The rich get a free ride, and why can't we?
Free ride, why can't we? The rich get a free ride, why can't we? The rich get a free ride, why can't we? The rich get a free ride, why can't we? Public transit should be free. The rich get a free ride, why can't we? Public transit should be free. Rich get a free ride, why can't we? Public transit should be free. Why can't we?
Story of Bank of America is the story of our financial industry's absolute corruption. They went from a small bank, greedy for power. They undermined our laws. They broke down the barriers between states. And then with their money, they broke down the barriers between savings and investment banking. That is what destroyed our economy. Rampant corruption. And that's the story of Bank of America. 2007, when the economy collapsed, our government told us that we had to bail out the banks. 7, 8, yeah. Winter, right. They said that if we didn't do it, our economy would fall apart. And so with the power of the U.S. government, they children, forget money, our labor, and our lives to these crooks. So we can have this shiny building. What did our money buy? Our money has bought foreclosures, the systematic destruction of our communities. Our money has gone to fund the rape of our planet. Removing entire mountains from the landscape. And poisoning our water in the process. This is what our government forced us to buy. And you know, it's a weird kind of transaction when you give a whole bunch of money for something and you're expected to get it in return. We didn't get it. They still run the show. Zero accountability. Back for America. 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 So they're telling us that we're living beyond our means, that we have to cut back, that we're looking for handouts. The ones who are getting the handouts are right here. The austerity story is a lie, ladies. This is the cause of the austerity. They're the ones that need to take cuts. We got sold out. 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 We got sold out.
Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out.
Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out. I got another one from NATO. No missiles, no tanks. We'll burn your fucking banks. No missiles, no tanks. We'll burn your fucking banks. No missiles, no tanks. We'll burn your fucking banks. No missiles, no tanks. We'll burn your fucking banks. No missiles, no tanks. We'll burn your fucking banks. No missiles, no tanks. And
standing here before the Boston Housing Authority. It should be called the Boston Homeless Authority. It gives out the few vouchers that people need to get into housing to get off the streets. There are 30,000 people in metropolitan Boston waiting on 200 vouchers to get in subsidized housing. Meanwhile, the rich and the bankers and the corporation and the bourgeoisie are building commercial real estate, banks, condominiums, rich people's homes. We have to stop that. We have to unite on the left and stop that. I'm here for ACT UP Boston, a coalition to unleash power. You remember that, kids? People with AIDS under attack. What do we do? ACT UP attack. People with AIDS under attack. What do we do? ACT UP attack.
People with AIDS under attack.
What do we do? ACT UP attack. We're here not just for people with HIV. We're here for the disabled, for people with families in shelters in Dorchester, on the island, waiting years and years and years that they don't have to live, so they can live in a single-room occupancy hell. We have to stop that. We have to stop stop that.
That's right.
People with HIV don't have 5 years to wait on the Boston Homeless Authority waiting list. This is a real life and death crisis. All power to the people. All power to the Socialist Party, to ISO, to Socialist Alternative, to Workers' Party, to the Libertarian. Whatever, man. IWU, let's unite and smash the state.
That is the context right now for the current elections.
That is the context right now for the current elections.
From what it looks, Syriza, the radical coalition of the left, is going to win on the elections. I'm just going to keep going. And they have put forward an anti-austerity program. They say we're not going to pay back the loans because we are not responsible for the crisis that's going on in Europe. We are not responsible for the fact that we're not responsible for the they're not responsible. We are not responsible for what's happening in the U.S. Solidarity with them because they're probably going to get expelled out of Europe, and we're going to probably witness in the next 2 weeks another unraveling of the world economic system.
That's right!
Austerity, no way! Make the 1% pay! Austerity,
No way! Make the 1% pay! Austerity! No way! Make the 1% pay!
No way! Make the 1% pay!
Woo! be an example for us. After 3 years, the Syriza Party has managed to actually organize a political force that is ready to represent the working people, the poor, the marginalized, the immigrants, and they have actually managed to organize that in order to challenge the 1% through their mechanisms, their state. And if that should be an example for us, because what started as an Occupy movement, what started as an immigrant rights movement, what started to be rallies against racism, against police brutality, virtually all of those share a common struggle. And we should all organize as a political force, because that's the way that we're going to be able to challenge the 1%.
What's the solution? Revolution! What's the reaction? Direct action!
The final thing that I want to say is that the stakes are really, really high. In Greece right now, the radical left is not only growing, but the fascists are growing also.
Fascists out! Fascists out! Fascists out! Fascists out!
And by that, I don't mean just fascism, like what you see in the movies. I'm talking about real thugs, that they go into the streets and they beat immigrants like us on the streets. And we need to stop that, and Syriza is actually organizing against that. But there's an even higher stake. Across the Mediterranean, there's another country that had a revolution last year, and that country was Egypt. And if the Greeks were under 3 years of austerity, the Egyptians were under 30 years of austerity under the Mubarak regime and their thoughts. And last year they said enough, and they threw out Mubarak. They had a revolution. They said, we can't stand this, we can't go like this. This cannot keep on going. And now, yesterday, the military council declared that the parliament that was elected after the revolution is going to get dismissed. What that means basically, basically that the military has martial law, imposed martial law in Egypt. What that is a signal for the counter-revolution in Egypt. And we need to stand here in solidarity with the Egyptians, because Egyptians were the ones that started it. We need to stand there in solidarity because here in the United States, Islamophobia is rampant, and they're used, Arabs and Muslims are used as a scapegoat to divide and conquer us. There's going to be a rally after this in Dewey Square, where we're going to be standing and saying that the U.S. government should not stand and support the staff and fund them militarily and with weapons. You should all come. But I think what's more important is that it shows how high the stakes are. A year ago, there was a revolution in Egypt where they captured the imagination of all of us, and they wanted a different kind of society for the Middle East. 1 year later, we stand that revolution being threatened, and we cannot stand and hear idle and let that revolution be defeated. Because if the Greeks get defeated, we get defeated. If the Greeks get defeated, we get defeated. They showed us our support when we were brutalized by the police. Now it's our time to show our support with them. How do we smash austerity? End the war, tax the rich. How do we smash austerity?
End the war, tax the rich.
How do you smash austerity?
End the war, tax the rich.
How do you smash austerity?
End the war, tax the rich. End the war, tax the rich. End the war, tax the rich.
Whose crisis?
Their crisis.
Their crisis. Their crisis. Their crisis. Their crisis.
Syriza forever. Austerity never.
That's right.
Okay, my name is Romina. I'm a member of the IWW, the Central Workers of the World. I want to talk a little bit about this crisis, about not just the austerity, but the major cuts, how they're going to affect especially women and people of color. And as a Latina, in the United States, and knowing very well how this crisis is going to be hardest hit on us. There's a perfect banner right there that says, in Boston, 85% of children living in poverty are headed by single parents. And we know that with the rise of T-cuts and all the other cuts that are going to take place, including social services, that, yeah, there's some people who don't care because they're not going to be affected. They can pay whatever transit they want to pay. But if we can't fucking get to work, neither can they. And that's why we're out here, to block the streets and to show that we're not going to let this just happen. If working people continue to pay for this crisis, and when are we going to finally organize to say something and to do something about it? Of course we feel disempowered because we live in a society which is disempowering. We don't feel like we can actually change something. We don't feel like we can actually do something. But we can, especially when we organize and we get together. And I also want to say that I was thinking I'm someone who's a feminist and also very actively involved in a lot of things. That the poverty is a feminist issue. And we cannot separate that. That women who cannot pay for abortion, women who cannot pay for social services, women who cannot pay for many things. And this is really going to affect them. And so we have to march and be loud and say that this is not going to happen.
All right, so now let's go tell the State House what we think about their austerity program for Massachusetts.
Sitting out here, the struggle against war, the struggle against economic injustice, the struggle against social injustice, the struggle against political injustice. And we're gonna keep, and I'm gonna keep doing this until my dying breath, apparently, because that's really the problem. We've still got a long way to go, and hopefully marches and rallies and demonstrations like this will keep us going. And like I say, the Veterans of Peace, of course, we're known for the peace issue around the question of the immediate unconditional withdrawal from Afghanistan. When you really think about it, with 1,000 bases around the world, the U.S. hands off the world. But those 1,000 bases mean something. It means that they are spending a hell of a lot of money on maintaining that in the war budget. So that's part of what the struggle against austerity is about. It's about that goddamn war budget. And it's about the fact that what we say politically is no. We want everybody who represents us in Washington to vote no on the war budget. Straight up and down. Not just a supplemental budget, but the whole thing. Not one dime, not one quarter, not one penny, not one person for the wars. Everybody knows Veterans of Peace proudly stood out with Occupy Boston. Last October, we were in the front lines, and we'll stay in the front lines in defending the people's right to assemble anywhere they goddamn well please. But we also stand against stand with the struggle against foreclosures, against the layoffs, against austerity. And remember, we're small now, and a lot of the causes that we have are small causes, but when you put them all together, you have to say one thing. An injury to one is an injury to all. An injury to one is an injury to all. An injury to one is an injury to all. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear about what's going on with the UMass public university system in Massachusetts. And it's another story about austerity.
Occupy Boston, that's the part we are.
Welcome to Boston!
Welcome to Boston! Good afternoon, brothers and sisters! How are you doing out there? My name is Genevieve, and I work for UMass Boston. I'm a member of the Massachusetts Teachers Association, a proud public sister.
employees in general. Now, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing a t-shirt today that says no parking fee increases. Now, that's just one of the many austerity measures that's happening at UMass Boston, where they're trying to raise parking fees from $6 a day, where students have paid thousands of dollars, not just students, but staff and faculty alike, where even in my union, it's 5% at $6 of some of my union members of their entire salary for the year. 5% at $6. Oh yes, please, do that, please. And now they're trying to raise it from $6 then to $8, then to $10 a day.
One day.
One day. And that's not pricing people out of education, making it next to impossible for people to come into work. I don't know what is. I don't know what is, my brothers and sisters. And on top of that, we're having difficulty even getting our contracts passed as usual. Thank you, Deval Patrick. And this is a constant struggle. We have two bosses through the UMass system and the state. And also that there was a recent announcement of tuition hikes yet again throughout the UMass system. Yes, absolutely. Another. These are tuition hikes on top of tuition hikes on top of tuition hikes. And Deval Patrick, all he had to say about it was that, oh, that's a real shame. That's a real shame. And to top it all off, he said that he wanted the UMass system to be creative about how they could reduce their budget pricing. Well, as far as some of us are concerned, that's a creative way of saying to lay off a few folks at UMass Boston and across the UMass system. And our unions are going to be fighting not only on the one front against parking increases that no one can afford, because this is not just any school. This is the only, literally the only public four-year institution to get your bachelor's degree in Boston, the only public school that you can get that degree in. Everywhere else is privatized. Now, with that being said, Harvard University, the second richest nonprofit in the world next to the Catholic Church, does not pay any taxes. No taxes. And yet, if we even taxed Harvard by a small percentage, it would be enough to cover all of the deficit throughout the entire public school education, higher education, let alone the deficit that exists for pre-K through 12 in Massachusetts. Absolutely. And that's just one example. So talk about austerity and the fact that the rich do have the money. The money's there. They cannot deny it. None of us are stupid. People know this, but yet they don't know how to figure it out and how to fight this. But we know from Montreal and Quebec, we've seen what struggle can do. We've seen it. Students across Montreal have been happening with a bold initiative to take under, to occupy, to strike, to say, no, we will not stand idly by while you make us pay for the crisis that we did not create. And that is why at UMass and across the system, that especially heating up in the fall, that we will have to be as bold as those in Canada. And I would invite you to come to my second home, UMass, and join me and my brothers and sisters in the classified staff union and the other unions at UMass to fight these bastards tooth and nail. We cannot do it without you. We cannot. And I ask you to please tell everyone you know what's happening there, because our fight is everyone's fight. It's the community's fight to keep public education public. We must do this. So when I say cut back, please say fight back. When they say cut back, we say fight back. When they say cut back, we say fight back. When they say cut back,
University, in case you don't know, is a private institution. It borders the neighborhoods of Mission Hill and Roxbury. The concern with this is that Northeastern, according to conservative estimates, gets $150 to $175 million a year in tax exemptions and subsidies, meaning that everyone here pays for Northeastern to, with their relationship with Raytheon, who builds bombs for drones. The taxpayers are killing people, literally, either indirectly or not. And we're here, I'm here, and I know other private school students are here to share the fight with the public, with the rest of the public that surrounds us, the UMass system, the citizens of Roxbury and Mission Hill, especially in Roxbury, where Roxbury Community College has been recommended that they switch from an academic institution to a vocational institution. What do we say to that? No. That is bad. Not to mention, we have the schools relocating, lower resources, and also, it's not just schools, it's programs. The other few months ago, the only Haitian school program in the public, in all of Boston, was cut. None of the Haitian students have any programs that ties them back to their roots. This is offensive, and I feel that we should all get together, unite as one, and that we are here as students in the fight with workers, with unions, with the rest of the citizens of Boston, the country, and the world to fight back. When I say cut back, when we say cut back, we say fight back. When we say cut back, we say fight back. Thank you. All right, comrades, brothers and sisters, and everyone else, people, we are now going to move down to Park Street. We're going to talk a little bit more about the MBTA, and we're going to end up in Copley Square. So let's march down through the park, and I want to just finish the story of the MBTA, because it is the most egregious story of austerity in the city right now. So what is it? Form up, let's march.
This is the MBTA fare increases are a labor issue because they're planning on laying off a bunch of MBTA workers. If not this year, next year. This is like a totally unsustainable situation. That just because totally unsustainable situation that if it's not over this year, it's gonna keep going on year after year. And this is not our problem. This is capitalism's dead crisis. This is not our problem. And when they increase the fares for people who take the T, they're basically giving you a wage cut. They're giving you a wage cut, and you're getting less. And that is how, it's our problem to solve capitalism's crisis. But I don't think it is, and I don't think we should pay this ridiculous wage increase, this ridiculous fare increase. It's just them passing the buck to us, and we shouldn't accept it. So they say cut back, we say fight back. They say cut back,
We say fight back.
they say cut back,
We say fight back.
Woo!
They say fair hike,
We say fair strike.
they say fair hike.
We say fair strike.
The struggle over the MBTA, fare increases, service cuts, and layoffs has been hard fought this year. We all know
believe we should take direct action.
Yeah!